Hi everyone, this is Darren with Sim Nation. Just going to be streaming the SNCFL championship game tonight. So bear with me just 1 second while I get everything in order, and then we will get started. So just to kind of lay the groundwork here. So tonight's championship game will be a battle between the Auburn Tigers, led by Invisible Witness, and the Maryland Terrapins, led by me. These two teams have met a few times, but never won a championship game, or they may have actually way back when. I'll have to go look at that. But generally, Maryland holds the pole position in this matchup. Maryland is 7-0 against Auburn, 4-0 in the playoffs. Now, there's a slight change here, of course, in the fact that Auburn is now led by Invisible Witness, whereas in the past, I think it was Matt actually had Auburn, which is, they were pretty predominant in like the 2030s. When you look at these two teams, and we'll look at them real quick before we go into the game. So let's we'll go to the main screens. Start with Auburn because they're alphabetically first. Auburn is ranked third. They had a tremendous season. They only have one loss this season. And as a result of that, they entered as the 3 seed. We'll look at the playoffs results here in a moment, and I'll show you the path to get here, which wasn't easy, but in the semifinals, they knocked off Stewart at UCLA 48-13. This is a very, very good team. They are first in scoring offense. They're second in total offense. They're sixth in scoring defense, ninth in total defense. So they can play both sides of the ball very well. This will be an interesting game also because the quarterback, Frankie Etheridge, is the number 2 in his recruiting class, going up against Maryland's Shaka Chung, who was first in the class. So you have a battle of 2 seasons ago, the top 2 quarterbacks recruiting-wise. But while Etheridge hasn't had a great season, it hasn't been bad. He's thrown for 2,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. What you have to watch out for Auburn is the rushing attack. They have 4 running backs who have over 750 yards of rushing. They have with 10 touchdowns. They are led by Mario Arias, who of course has 1,500 yards and 29 touchdowns. And then when they get into the red zone, Steve Brent is going to be a problem. He's rushed for 779 yards, and he has 22 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, you have to account for James Delgado. He's a defensive tackle. He is a sack machine. But essentially, the joke with Auburn's defense is they're a bunch of James. But the other guy you got to keep an eye on is James, I'm trying to remember his name, Foreman, who has 26 knockdowns in 15 hurries. Their secondary, they have some really good cornerbacks with Alan Cabral and David Harding. Both of them are as close to the 50% catch to target ratio that you want to have. So those 2 guys are definitely people you want to keep an eye on throughout this game. And if we look at how they got here, you see they started the season with a bang, knocking off, at the time, UCLA was number 1. Auburn was number 1 throughout most of the season until week 11 when they ran into Skeltor and his Louisiana Monroe Warhawks, who beat them 44-33. That would be the last time that they would lose a game. But of course knocked them out of the SEC championship because Louisiana Monroe would go on to win that. And of course Maryland knocked off Louisiana Monroe to get to the championship game. In the playoffs, you see they pretty handily handled Florida International, Ohio State. It's a good CPU team. They knocked them off as well. And then, of course, crushed UCLA's dreams. So definitely a team to keep an eye on. They are very, very good. Invisible Witness is probably one of the best coaches in the Sim Nation coaching realm. And I would just be remiss if I didn't say that there's a really strong chance that they're going to walk away from this game with a blowout. So, now if we look at Maryland, the Maryland Terrapins, of course, are the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Maryland is probably as close to a juggernaut as you get. 23 titles. Nestor Laney, who is the historical coach, if I were to show you him, this is probably his last season because of a change in the game that I actually asked for, which is to not allow coaches to do what Nestor did. He's 95 years old, 638 career wins, 21 career losses, 40 career playoffs, 23 titles. He's only lost a championship game 9 times, so that Maryland's been in the championship game 32 times since 2024 when he took over from, I can't even remember the guy he took over from, which is bad. And I'd be remiss in saying Auburn has actually won a title, and I believe that was under Matt, and they won a championship game in 2039. They won the title in 2041, 1-1 for Auburn. Maryland's 23-9. So they definitely have the pedigree. You see here that they were 6th in total offense, 6th in scoring offense, 4th in total offense, 10th in total defense, or 10th in scoring defense, 4th in total defense. Of course, all the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Now with Maryland, it all starts and ends with Shaka Chung. He is a massive presence at quarterback. He started as a freshman. He's now a sophomore. He was the number 1 overall recruit in his class. And ironically, there's a little bit of grudge here. He picked Maryland over Auburn. But with the Maryland, you got to count for the receivers. Now, everyone's going to say guard Geigel, guard Geigel, guard Geigel. If you guard Geigel, you're going to lose. Maryland has 4 wide receivers who have almost 1,000 yards or more amongst them, led by John Hess. John Hess is a senior. This is his last game. Look for Maryland to get him involved very early. He is a deep threat, as are most of Maryland's wide receivers with Lindgren, Hunter. But Geigel is someone you got to keep a tab on, because if you don't, he will hurt you. Now, the thing about Maryland is everyone talks about the passing attack. Maryland has 2,000-yard rushers in Bean and in Eagle. Of course, Eagle was playing while Bean was hurt. Bean got hurt earlier in the season, missed most of the season, but he was on pace to actually be the rushing leader in the league before he got hurt. So on defense, what you got to count for Maryland is our defensive line. They will sack you. They bring the heat a lot, but in the secondary, keep an eye on David Brock. He is a cornerback with 4 interceptions on the year, but he has like 21 pass defenses. So what you're seeing is really 2 teams, maybe with opposing philosophies on how to do things on offense. Maryland loves to throw the ball and then use the run to kind of put the team off balance. Auburn loves to run the ball, but they can throw the ball. So if Invisible decides to throw the ball, I'm fairly confident they're going to have a good game too. And then lastly on defense, what I would just tell you is defensively, these 2 teams both are really good at stopping the game. I do expect this to be an offensive shootout, though. If it is a defensive struggle, I would be shocked. I think both of these teams are really, really good. So I've already imported. I haven't run the game. I'm going to run the game now. I'm going to ask you to bear with me as I go through this. It's really hard to call this game from watching it. So I may stutter occasionally. I may miss things. So let's go to the screen. I'm going to sim it. And what we're going to do right now is go ahead and watch the game as opposed to show the score. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started. And should have probably done 2D. Can I change that without leaving the screen? I don't think I can. Oh well, we'll have to do it this way. So I'm going to drop the speed just a little bit so I can keep up. So let's go ahead and play. Okay, so the game will kick off now. It looks like Maryland is kicking off to Auburn. Maryland has a pretty good kicker on Marsh. Good return by Guest out of Auburn. And we'll go ahead and get started. So first play, no shock, is a rushing play, and you see that he tries to get outside and is stopped by Arturo Sudo, one of the Maryland cornerbacks, for a loss of 1 yard. Etheridge is dropping back, good throw, and wait to see if that was completed. It's incomplete. Kind of looked like he threw into double coverage. One thing I would say is don't take into account the bubbles. And we'll go from there. So Etheridge is rolling out. He's going to get sacked off a corner blitz. So David Brock gets to him. Brock, you'll see that a lot with Maryland, will go after the quarterback. So it's a 12-yard loss. 4th and 23. Auburn will punt. This is a massive punt. Wonder if anybody managed to get under it. 58-yard punt puts Maryland back onto the 30. So we'll see if Maryland's able to do anything. So Maryland hands the ball off. You see Maryland run the ball quite a bit. John Bean is back. He will start over Abel Eagle. He rushes the ball for 7 yards. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Invisible. I think that whoever gets the first touchdown isn't probably going to be the winner. Shaka throws the ball away under pressure. Auburn's going to pressure Shaka a lot. Maryland's line, for whatever reason, has not been good this year, even though they have a bunch of 5-stars. So he throws it. Looks like he got a completion, got the first down. That's Darren Smith. You see a lot more Smith in this game than you will normally. He's a senior. Maryland's trying to get him the ball quite a bit. So Maryland gets the first down, starts 1st and 10. They run the ball, not much there this time. Sky Smith looks like he stopped that up pretty quick. If anything, he maybe got a yard. So on 2nd and 9, we'll see what Maryland tries to do here. Of course, they're going to try to throw the ball. Good completion. Penalty, we'll see what this one looks like. That was to Lindgren, who's one of those 4 wide receivers I talked about. Looks like it's a penalty on Auburn with unnecessary roughness. So the 28-yard penalty gets them within the red zone. I'd love to tell you a stat like when Maryland scores first that they always win. A lot of times when Maryland loses, they actually are the ones that are they tend to lose. So Maryland gets a touchdown. Invisible, hopefully that's good. Let me know if it's not. So they find John Hess in the end zone. So Maryland scores first. And the extra point is good. So Maryland takes a 7-0 lead early in the game. It looks like Marsh probably put this one through the back of the end zone. So we'll see if what Auburn comes back out with. Again, I wouldn't worry about it. Maryland's going to be hard-pressed to keep this rushing attack under wraps. I did move to more 3-4-4-3 to try to deal with his rushing attack. We'll see if that's successful. So short gain Hill, which will bring up 3rd and short. And comes up just short. We'll see if they go for it on 4th down. I wouldn't go for it on 4th down, even on a 4th and 2. Not as good of a punt as the last one. So Maryland's starting field position has been pretty good so far. Shaka comes back out. We'll see what he does. He's going to get sacked. Good edge blitz by Auburn. Sacks Shaka. Now, just full transparency, right? If Shaka goes down, Maryland's in trouble. They don't have a great backup quarterback. They have Leighton McCloskey, who can come on in a pinch, but he's radically different than Shaka is. So again, 8-yard gain. That'll bring up 3rd and 13. Looks like they are right at the first down marker. 9 yards by Lindgren. Maryland plays a conservative offense. They're not going to go for it. They'll punt. And again, not a great punt. Both punters maybe not doing what their coaches want. That's a 36-yard punt. Be interesting if this game is won by who punts better. So first pass, really good pass to Charles Stearns, who picks up the first down, 11-yard gain for Auburn. We'll see if they pass the ball a little bit more. Another pass, and this time Etheridge gets sacked by another Maryland corner. Just so everyone knows, I blitz corners like mad. Mostly just because I think that it helps keep offense honest. And another sack. So Maryland's definitely bringing the pressure. This time by Samuel Orlando, who is one of the defensive tackles, and that will probably result in a punt. It's only 3rd and 26. Good pass to Roy Bright, who looks like he went out of bounds after 5 yards. Gets it a little bit farther out, and of course, hopefully this is not another 30-yard punt. No, this will be like a 50-yard punt. So Maryland get the ball back with 5:57 into the first quarter, and it's 7-0 Maryland. That looks like it was dropped. And it was trying to find, or broken up in this case. Hess versus Quinn should be a really good matchup. And this time it looks like he finds Hess, and he's tackled by McNutt for a gain of 6, which will bring up a 3rd and 4. Chung dropping back. It looks like a little bit of deep coverage there from Auburn this time around. It helps him get the first down as he's able to thread the needle for 10 yards and find Hess again. You'll see a lot of throwing to Hess. Hess is definitely Chung's favorite top. He's going to get sacked. Nope. Got it off. Really good throw. This time finds Geigel. Managed to avoid the sack. 32-yard gain for Maryland. They're driving into the Auburn side of the field now. And they break it up with a run play by John Bean. 7-yard gain, this time being tackled by Harding. Chung drops back and is able to complete the pass to Darren Smith. That's a 7-yard gain. So bring up, gets them the first down and brings them into a goal line situation. So they hand the ball off to Bean, I would assume. And Bean gets 4 yards on this. And Maryland gets closer. I think they're at the 5 now. And Chung throws that one away. Looks like he felt that there was pressure there. And 3rd and goal. That one could have been an interception. So falls incomplete. Maryland will kick the ball. Marsh does have some issues with missing from short range, so this isn't a given. And it's good. So Maryland is up 10-0 with 1:49 left in the first quarter. And decent kick return. Etheridge drops back, and don't think that was caught. I think that was either broken up or fell incomplete. Trying to find Rasmussen. Good run, Hill. That's Arias for 5 yards. Arias, of course, the back that I mentioned earlier on. I think in order for Auburn to win, Arias has to have a good game. Good catch, and over Bobby Gardner. So that gets them the first down. Finds Rasmussen for 16 yards. And another good, this looks like it's a decent run. I think if Auburn can keep Maryland from just stacking the line, they should be good. Etheridge again, good pass, good first down. Definitely Etheridge is starting to come alive, which is really, really good for Auburn. I think that they're going to need him to have a decent game in order for them to win. He's 4 of 6 for 43 yards so far. Maryland does get in again and get another sack. This is Virgil Monaco, who is probably Maryland's sack leader at this point. He's a senior as well. Moves the pocket. He's got some time. He finds space. Makes a really good throw to Justin Moya before he's tackled by David Lugo. 26 yards. Auburn is doing really good on this drive. Again, this game's not out of hand by any means, given the fact that Auburn can score very quickly. So this is caught by Justin Moya again. It'll be an 11-yard gain. It keeps the chains moving. Etheridge is doing really, really good. That's the end of the first quarter with Maryland up 10-0, but Auburn is driving. Handoff. Okay run by Howard Doyle. I think that's a 2-yard gain. It's going to be really hard right now for, I think, Auburn to find space against Maryland. I did stack against the run, but that's a good run right there by Steve. I don't think it was Steve Dietz. I think that was Doyle again for 4 yards. I'll have to look after the game, Tony. I think he was already, if I remember correctly, and I think I know who you're talking about. Oh, by the way, Auburn scores 10-3. I think that he already had quite a bit of a linebacker on him. But I think I need to see which one that is, because make sure it is. But I think I developed him quite a bit doing that. Sorry, trying to pay attention to both. Dickens for 4 yards. And Chung is dropped. Both teams are doing a pretty decent job of getting into the backfield and getting to the quarterbacks. I do worry about it every time that I see Chung get hit, that I'm going to see a different number in the backfield than number 4. Good completion, going to come up short of the first down to Geigel, which will cause a punt. Of course, Geigel, 2 receptions, 46 yards so far. And Maryland will punt the ball away. Not a good punt at all. Auburn will start on the Maryland side of the field. So it looks like the momentum may be shifting over to Auburn at this point. Auburn comes out. It's going to be a pass. See if Maryland can get to them. They don't. And this is caught by Mendenhall, who's their tight end, for 18 yards. Auburn definitely doing really good work in the second quarter. Run to the outside. He gets to the outside this time. So Richard Ferreira rushes for 4 yards. Auburn's offense definitely starting to come to life. And this one, not as good. He basically got back to the line of scrimmage before he got dropped by Lugo. 3rd and 5. We'll see what they do. They're going to run the ball and basically gets back to the line of scrimmage again. This time Jeffrey LeBron is the one who gets the tackle on Ferreira. Auburn will kick the field goal again. This is Ham. I can actually say his first name, but so it's 10-6 Maryland. Although it's worth noting, Auburn has been starting to shut down Maryland. Decent kick return by Maryland by Ames. So Shaka drops back, completes the ball to Lindgren again. This is for 13 yards before Sky Smith drops him. So Maryland will cross into Auburn territory. Handoff. And this time John Bean runs. You won't see a lot of Able Eagle. Maryland doesn't tend to show the backfield. Whoever's the starting back is the starting back. They only come off if they're tired. Bean gets stuffed this time. Not a good run this time, which will mean that it'll be second and probably like 12. Lost 2 yards on that. Throws the ball, gets caught again. Manages to slip and slide away from people. Hess manages to turn what should have probably been a short reception for 19 yards in a Maryland first down. They're now within the 20. So we have 6:28 left. Maryland tries to run the ball. Auburn essentially sniffs it out, only lets him have a yard. And Chung's probably going to get sacked. So Straub gets the sack this time for 11 yards and knocks Maryland back onto the edge of Marsh's field goal capability. So we have a 3rd and 20 for Maryland. They can't take a sack here, and they do. So 2 straight sacks. Chung hesitated for a second and got sacked by Harding. So that knocks Maryland out of field goal range, and now, of course, have to punt. So they punt to around the 10. Auburn will get the ball around the 10, have to start from there. Etheridge is looking. He finds an open wide receiver after a little bit, and Richie gets tracked down from behind by Donald. But that's a gain of 29, gets him away from the end zone, which is exactly what you'd want to see if you're an Auburn fan. Good catch, good pass again. Etheridge is really starting to come to life here. He's having a fantastic game. 9 of 11 for 130 yards so far in just the first half. And, of course, they run the ball and not really stopped. So, yeah, I kind of wish that this was an actual real game where you and I could go head-to-head. Maryland read that one, but he got out anyways. Yeah, Invisible, I've been asking for that for since this game began, is to allow for a championship game to be done in real time between 2 coaches. Right on the first down line, maybe a first down for Auburn, continuing to move the ball really well. So it was a first down. Quick passes by Etheridge right on the line for another first down. This time he finds David Hawkins for 10 yards. Definitely, of the 2 quarterbacks, I would have expected Chung to be ahead in yardage, but Etheridge is just really throwing the ball well. Another first down completion to Rory Bright. Etheridge is definitely finding his legs and throwing the ball really, really well. Decent run by Arias, 4 yards. Maryland looked like they read it, but fell back a little bit on that one. And good breakaway. There will be a penalty, but Starnes catches this one, puts him in a goal line stance. Play gets nullified, though, because of offensive pass interference by Bright. That one kind of sucks. So another quick throw, gets tackled by Brock, but he finds Moya again for 9 yards. Etheridge has only thrown 2 incompletions so far in this game, and I think he's thrown quite a few, 8 or 9 passes straight. Probably shouldn't have said anything. This one is dropped by Etheridge, and they'll settle for another field goal. The penalty definitely hurt them on that one. And that one's no good. Maryland takes the ball over with 59 seconds left. There's a penalty on this one. Darren Smith catches it. We'll see what this penalty is. And it looks like this is a face mask. So Maryland will get the ball. Chung looks like he's looking deep. He didn't get sacked, but came close. Darren Smith catches it. Gets tackled by Sherry for a gain of 26 yards. You got to think Maryland's going to kick the field goal here. Maybe not. And that will be a touchdown. So John Hess catches the ball, breaks away from his coverage, and right at the end of the half scores a touchdown. The kick is good. 23-yard touchdown makes the game 17-6. Maryland will kick it away. And this should be one of the last few plays of the first half. They run the ball and get dropped by Odafe Bills for a short gain. It looks like Auburn's just going to try to run the clock out at this point. Not a bad strategy to get into the locker room. It'll be interesting to see the adjustments made by the CPU in the second half. Again, they're running off both Invisible and I's game plans, but it'll just be interesting. 3rd and 1. I mean, I would have called a timeout though if I was the CPU. So we'll go to the third quarter. Maryland, of course, will receive the kick this time and be the first one on offense. First half, general observations. Etheridge is doing a really good job. Maryland's done a decent job of shutting down Auburn's rushing game. Auburn has done a good job of keeping Chung in check through pretty much constantly blitzing him. But Chung did throw for 226 yards in the first half. And that's an incompletion broken up by Chavarria. Chung drops back again. And this one is an incomplete. So 2 straight incompletions from Shaka. I probably should stop saying someone's doing good. Quick pass to the outside. That'll be a first down and more. Darren Smith finally gets hauled down by Aguirre for 27 yards. The one thing that Maryland does have is speed at wide receiver. So the good news for Auburn is they also do have speed. So Maryland won't be able to do what they do with a lot of teams, which is just run away from them, where they can't get caught from behind. In this case, Auburn, no matter what the catch, should be able to catch them. Bean does a second run, brings up a 3rd and short. Not much there, though. And Chung will drop back. Got lots of time, maybe too much time. See what he does. He's gonna run it. Now, I don't like this. You don't often see Chung run. But in that case, he runs it for 20 yards. One of the reasons why I don't like Chung running the ball is I don't want him getting hurt. So Bean manages to get a decent run off of this one. Chung did a great job of keeping that play alive long enough to get 20 yards. Bean gets 8. They're now almost in wide open to Lindgren. They catch Auburn off guard and score again. So that's a 12-yard touchdown pass by Lindgren. And Maryland will kick it off. Chung is 18-25 for 265 yards, 2 touchdowns so far in this game. Actually, that should be 3 touchdowns. So Auburn will come out and we'll see what they decide to do. They were having some success at the end of the second quarter of running the ball. Good throw there before getting tracked down. That's Moya again. Donald has to come over and make the tackle, but that's a gain of 23. Maryland manages to keep that run relatively short, maybe 2 yards. A yard. Arias is stopped for 0 yards. Etheridge throws the ball. I don't think that was completed. Moya falls incomplete. You have to think they'll punt it, but at some point you might have to think about going for it. I hope that went into the end zone. 48 yards for touchback. So Maryland gets the ball back. If they can score here, they may be able to start to put the game out of reach. John Bean gets a good run here for 6 yards. But again, I'm going to draw back to the Ohio State game with Maryland. Maryland had what was a really comfortable lead against Ohio State, and he's throwing that into triple coverage. Don't know that that was a good plan, but finds it to Darren Smith for 11 yards. But in that game, Maryland was up by at least I think it was 4 touchdowns, and then ended up going into overtime against Ohio State. He finds John Hess Hill. Definitely Shaka is doing a pretty good job throwing the ball now. He feels comfortable. But again, all this can change really quick. Auburn is a team that can score really, really quick. So until the final 5 minutes are left, I'm not going to say much about their ability to come back, because they have come back quite a few times. This is the guy go for 12 yards. Chung is doing a really good job throwing the ball, but this time he's not able to find Keith Dickens, who's the backup tight end to Geigel. He's still got the ball. He's getting tons of time, and that one could have been a touchdown, but looks like it was dropped. So he's unable to find Darren Smith. That'll bring up 3rd and 10. And there's a penalty here. It does find Geigel. See, this penalty is on. It's on defensive pass interference, so give Maryland an automatic first down. And they managed to get to Chung and knock him down. The one problem with this view is I don't think it would show me if he got hurt. So that's why I keep looking at the quarterback to see who's in. They're going to get him again. Finds John Hess for a touchdown. Nice long touchdown. Got lots of time. One of the things I am noticing is Maryland's getting a lot of time despite the sacks. It's 26 yards. Touchdown for Hess. Takes them up 31-6. Definitely on this play, I was hoping it was going to take it all the way back. Auburn does need to score here. If they don't score here, it's going to get harder and harder, especially with the running game not working the way that Invisible wants it to. Now, in fairness, I did key on the run much more than the pass, and I thought that it might hurt me. But Etheridge is just having a good game. He may get sacked here. And this is a defensive tackle, William Linville. Maryland is getting good pressure on him. But, I mean, he's had a decent game. It's just Auburn hasn't been able to get the running game going. Throws that. And incomplete. That will bring up 4th and 31. Kind of disappointing after the really good return that they weren't able to do anything with it. If Maryland scores, though, this one may be oval. And I'm only basing that off the fact that Maryland's defense is actually playing relatively well right now. Because right now it's almost 400 yards of total offense to 251. Penalties have hurt Auburn a little bit more than Maryland. Good sack there on Chung, pushes them way back. And again, it's one of the James. This time it's James Foreman for 11 yards. See what happens. He'll good completion, but they will not get the first down, and Maryland will have to punt. So finds Darren Smith again for 14 yards. Both Hess and Smith, who are over 100 yards on the day. Not a good punt at all, but be interesting to see. At some point, you have to think that hopefully the CPU will switch to the pass, because the run game is just not going. This is one of, in transparency, one of the playbooks I'm using is often the playbook I use on both Skelter and Matt, who are probably two of the best running the ball coaches I know. So 14 of 20, 194. That one falls incomplete. Bring up 3rd and 10. Complete. He's getting distance. He may take this all the way, although there is one person who looks like it could catch him, and they don't. So good long touchdown for Auburn. Etheridge, that's essentially found, wish they would tell me because I don't know the numbers very well. I should. Moya for a 60-yard touchdown pass with the extra point. That's 31-13, and breathes life back into Auburn. Now we are in the fourth quarter, so Auburn needs to essentially shut Maryland downhill and start working it on offense. So that one sailed through the back of the end zone. Maryland will take over at their 25. And Chung throws the ball. Geigo catches this one for a first down. That probably inches him closer to, he's got a ways to go. Drops back again. And he should get sacked. I hate when it bent down, when the bubble bounces around like that. But they do get Chung again. This is Alan Cabral, one of the cornerbacks I mentioned. Good corner sack, though. Brings up 2nd and 17. They got pressure. This one was dropped. Maryland loses their starting guard on this play. I was trying to find Abel Eagle there. Good, again, finds Geigel, but going to be well short. So this one's going to be another punt for Maryland. Better punt than what it is. Jordan probably is one of the weakest links in Maryland's team. He's not as good of a punter as they've had in the past. Etheridge goes to throw the ball. Looks like he was a little flustered by the rush. Doesn't find Ritchie on this one. Bring up 2nd and 10. Drops back again. Good completion there. That'll get the first down. And this one is to Bright. Bright gets a gain of 9 yards. Should have the first down. Nope, 3rd and inches. They hand the ball off. Maryland sniffs the run, but good run Hill. So Trevino makes the tackle, but in this case, Ferreira runs for 6 yards. Tries to run. You have a fumble. Ferreira drops the ball on the ground. See who recovers it. It's recovered by Ferreira. He falls on the ball. So no turnover. Etheridge drops back. Some pressure on him. Manages to get it out to a wide open person, but it looks like it got missed to Moya. Moya would have had another long touchdown pass. That brings up 3rd and 10 for the Tigers. Gets the ball out, gets first down and more. Good pass though to his tight end to move the ball along. Handoff. Maryland reads it again. Arias is dropped. Maybe at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. Sudor's doing a good job on the edge of reading and being able to shut off this run. That's a good run for Doyle. I think Doyle of the running backs is having the best game, 9 of 42. All the other running backs are just not able to get around. Runs the ball, that could be a first down from Arias. It's right on the edge. We'll see if it's first down. It should be. Nope, 4th and inches. And this field goal is also no good. It's 2 missed field goals for Auburn. Chung hands it off to Bean. And there's an unnecessary roughness penalty on Auburn, which gives Maryland a first down. And this one looks like this is going to be a incompletion to Eagle. Eagle, of course, is the backup back. Makes you wonder if maybe Bean may be hurt. Falls incomplete to Geigel. We have 8:23 left. Lots of time for Auburn to get back in this one. And that one is probably not completed either. Darren Smith. So it'll be another 3 and out. Maryland's had like 3 straight 3 and outs. And this one will go through the back of the end zone, it looks like, and be a touchback. So 47-yard punt. They'll start on their 20. We'll see what happens here. Good completion. Etheridge is having a good game. That goes away, Cardle. He's just under 300 yards at this point. Good handoff. This should be a decent run. Arias finally finds daylight and is able to get a decent run out of that for 7 yards. Only challenge with running the ball right now, of course, is the clock is a little bit limited. And that one does not get to the outside. And another catch, and Adelphi Bills brings down Ferreira for 2 yards. I don't want to jinx either team, but this has been relatively clean of a game, turnover-wise. Starnes gets the ball, gets the first down before it's brought down by Donald. And, of course, as Invisible Witness mentioned, Maryland has not had a penalty in this game. Another good catch. This time it's by Rory Bright. He gets right up to nail the first down marker. Hand the ball off. They're going to try to get the ball on the ground. There's a penalty. Let's see if this is Maryland's first penalty. Yeah, it's on Maryland. Of course, I had to say something. Unnecessary roughness. That'll give first down and 15 yards. He throws the ball. Good catch. This could be a touchdown. I think it's going to be. And you have Rasmussen, who runs the ball in to help Auburn get closer. It's 28-yard gain with the extra point. It's now 31-20, 11 points. Yeah, I really shouldn't say anything because every time I say something, something happens. Maryland loses. It looks like Maryland may have lost one of their kick returners. Bean, I think this is Bean. Yeah, Bean's back on the field, so he's definitely not injured. 7-yard gain. Look for Maryland to try to run the ball maybe a little bit more now. Although, candidly, I don't know that I want them to. I'd rather them throw the ball. That's a short gain. That should make it 3rd and 2. We'll see if Maryland can pick up the first down. They really need to pick up the first down. Finds a wide open Lindgren, who goes for quite a few yards past the first down. That's gain of 24. With 3:05 left, Auburn definitely needs to get a stop here. Or a turnover. So Bean runs the ball. That's an 11-yard gain. Interception or fumble. is definitely needed. 2:14 left. And also probably needs to start calling some timeouts. Sherry, Auburn calls timeout to stop the clock. Gain of 0, 2nd and 10. And Chung throws that ball away because he was under pressure again. So they'll bring up 3rd and 10. They are within Marsh's field goal range, by the way. So Maryland could try to throw the ball. Short gain by Bean. See if Maryland is successful. No, they choose to punt it. I don't know that I agree with that one, but I'll leave that one alone. Oh, they pinned him. Etheridge throws the ball away. So I'll take that back. Jordan, you're a great punter. He literally pinned him at the 1. So managed to get out of the end zone, but largely back to the line of scrimmage. So it'd be 2nd and 10 on the 3rd and 9 on the Auburn 1. Not sure what happened here. Why would you spike the ball? I don't think they're going to get the first down. I think they came up short. 8 yards. So Maryland will take the ball over on the 9. Not sure what's going on. Oh, Maryland's kneeling. So Maryland kneels, and they will take the national championship. I'm going to have to report this as a bug because it should show some type of formation. So 7 seconds left, and that will be the game. So Maryland staves off Auburn and wins the SNCFL title, which I believe is their 2nd in a row. Great game, Invisible. Great season from Auburn. We'll actually take a look at the box score here. So pretty evenly matched offensively for the most part between the yards. Etheridge had a really good game. 71% completion, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did get sacked 5 times, but really good game. Chung, on the flip side, was 26 of 40, 386 yards, 4 touchdowns, got sacked 7 times. So definitely both teams were pinning their arrows back and going for the quarterback. Rushing-wise, this may be the first time this season I think that Auburn's been held under 100 yards of total rushing. And then, of course, you see that Bean had 73 yards. The difference maker in this game had to be Hess. I think they'll give it to Chung, but I think Hess deserves it more. Great game to end his career. Hess, of course, is a senior. He'll finish this season with 1,700 yards. Will probably leave as one of Maryland's best wide receivers ever. I think Geiger is a sophomore. Yeah, so he'll be back. You see here, this is probably one of the things that hurt Auburn probably more than anything was the 2 missed field goals. Punting-wise, good job out of Revis. That last punt from Jordan probably saved his career with Maryland. And then you see on defense, you see a lot of sacks here. Really good job of distributing the ball. Lots of hurries out of Delgado. Just generally, I think their defense had a good game. I just think it was hard to play Maryland when you're constantly having to stay on the field. Maryland did a good job with holding that rushing game in check. And you can kind of see here that there were quite a few pancakes for Maryland. Nobody allowed a sack, even though there were 7. That's kind of weird. But that's just the game. And then you see here that a lot of pancakes from Arnold. So at the end of the day, I am willing to share my playbooks if anybody wants it. I will tell you, I a lot of times will not show my playbooks if I'm playing a human opponent. For those of you interested in why, there was a coach at Baylor who quit our league because I used his game against me with Texas Tech to show how to defeat the long passing game. And then everybody quickly adopted the playbook I was using. And as a result of that, he didn't win a single game for the rest of the year. And kind of felt guilty because when he quit, he did call me out. So I'm a little hesitant a lot of times to do this, but this is a playbook I've been using for a long time against both Skeletor and Matt. But I gotta say, great season out of Auburn. To take the path they took to get here definitely is worth it. So gonna go here, go league, gonna publish. So ending thoughts on this season. I think it was a really, really great season. Auburn started the season strong, ended the season strong. Stewart it's not an easy job to beat Stewart at UCLA. It's not an easy job to beat Louisiana Monroe either. But Auburn just really did a great job running the tables throughout the season. Shark had a great season at Georgia. Skeletor had another great season at Louisiana Monroe. Stewart has been having great seasons with UCLA for a while. Matt at Clemson. For those who don't know, Matt won the SNCFL, which is one of our other leagues, beating Maryland in the final. That Maryland's a little bit easier to beat than this Maryland. Michigan, great season out of Stewart. I do want to call out number 15, Tony, at SMU. Really sucks that he just missed the playoff. By the way, these are the final rankings. Tony finished, I think, like 17th. But he had a really good year. It's just he fell right outside of the playoffs. And had he made the playoffs, he probably would have had to play Maryland in the first round, or UCLA, one of those two teams. And both of those teams are not normally teams you want to play against. Bama with Indiana had a great season. Definitely want to call that out. We do have some new coaches, so it'll be interesting to see what next year looks like. But all in all, great season from all of you. Definitely happy with how the season went. Next season should be really interesting because I do suspect that with Maryland, Nestor Laney will retire. I'm hoping he does. If he doesn't, it means they didn't fix the issue. And losing Nestor Laney will mean a lot to Maryland because, as you saw earlier, he's like a god in the coaching ward in this game, where I can pretty much recruit anybody because of how strong he is. So it'll be bad to lose him. They're probably going to lose Gary Hernandez, who's the longtime offensive coordinator as well. So I don't know that Maryland's going to be in prime position to win a championship next year. Also, they lose a lot of their receiving core. So that'll also be an interesting thing to watch. Hess will be gone. I think Smith is gone. I think Lindgren is gone. So they'll be left with Geiger. And then, of course, they do have a good incoming class. But I think next year the teams to watch is going to be Auburn, UCLA, Louisiana Monroe, and Georgia. And of course you can't factor Matt out at Clemson, and it'll be interesting to see with one more year under his belt what Tony does at SMU. Although it'll be interesting also to see what he does with Eastern Michigan. If you have any ideas about who my Zero to Hero team should be, let me know. I'll probably switch it up. It was Kentucky this year. I'll probably take a different team next year. Generally it's got to be one of the worst teams in the league, where I see if I can't turn them around and get them into the playoffs. But I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching. We do have the WWPF Championship coming up, where the two people in the game will look familiar to you, because it'll be me and Invisible Witness going at it again between Pittsburgh and his Carolina Panthers. I will tell you that one, I am pretty certain that Carolina is going to win that game. Pittsburgh just doesn't match up well at all with Carolina, and Invisible's had my number in WWPF for a while. So thank you again for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We are uploading, so if you're in the league, you'll be able to get to it. Up next is awards, and Tony, thank you for doing the video preview. If it's okay with you, I'm probably gonna link it in this video just so that people can go watch it, because it was a really good preview. Thanks everyone. Have a great night, and